Hey, how's it going, everybody out there in YouTube land? Welcome to another automotive video brought to you by Astral Technologies in the garage here, showing you how to install things and how to properly do things in your own garage. That way you have the knowledge to do things correctly and done the right way the first time. Today we're going to be doing upper control arms on this 2005 Honda Element. But they're not just the OE stock control arms. We're going to be looking at how to install adjustable control arms. So it's going to be an exciting episode. Hope you guys stick around for the entire thing to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below to be notified on more things to come. What we're looking at here is some TRQ upper control arm adjusters. You notice that we do have the adjustment here to install for the aftermarket portion. What we do notice in the Honda Elements is that you start to develop a bit of camber coming in over time, and once you start developing the camber on fixed control arms, you will need to eventually install some aftermarket control arms to make sure that you can push that camber back out, because the camber on the 2005 Elements are not adjustable. The few things that we get with the TRQ upper control arm kit is the control arms themselves, some new 18mm hardware for the opposite side, just in case we run into some rust. And notice right here you have brackets for the ABS sensor, because right here on the stock control arms, that's where the ABS bracket goes in, but it won't go in on the aftermarket ones. So make sure you don't discard of these or these small little bolts here. Those will go into the control arm like so. Once we get to install, they'll just go in there like that. The plate right onto there, and then we'll use the bigger end for the ABS side, as it shows there. Some of the tools that we're going to be needing is a 17mm to take off the control arms. We're also going to be needing a short 17mm, and then we'll have a 17mm wrench for the backing, and then possibly an 18mm wrench for this one. Okay, kind of tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
5 hours later. Alright, what we're going to work on here is getting this upper control arm off. We have the 17mm bolt that is OEM stock on this side. We are on the passenger side right now, and I got a 0-degree 17mm wrench to loosen this. When you're doing this, you kind of want to be careful with your splash guard on your rotors, that you don't bend that into the rotor. That's kind of an important thing, because it can cause a headache later on down the road. Also, if you noticed, I already have the lower portion of the control arm supported by a jack.
In this portion of the video, you'll see me taking off that 17mm bolt with an impact. It makes things a little easier if you do have air tools, but this is very well easily done with just the regular hand tools. As you can see, I switched over to a ratchet hand tool 17mm to take the back nut off. This was because of clearance issues from body to the control arm. This diagram by all data shows you the key bolts that need to be removed, along as the torque specifications. In this portion of the steps of removal, you can see that using needle nose pliers is sufficient enough to remove the ABS wire.
Now that we got the control arm out of the vehicle, what we're going to do is we're going to take the existing OEM control arm and measure them up with the adjustable control arm. Now, if you didn't have any camber issues that were too bad, showing you how you can get your adjustable control arms back to the OEM length. Got a pretty even spread between threads on each side. We've used the existing OEM hardware to line up our holes on each side, and that allows us to be the same length as up here to here. So I'm going to make a mark on the end of this jam nut, and we can also count the threads to make sure that we're even on that side, on both sides, to find our perfect center. What we're going to do first is get the eyelet portion of the control arm in. So I'm going to get this side lined up. I'm supporting with the jack, and then we'll just push it back in because there's some weight on the axle. On the existing OEM control arm, there was weld bolts on this side, which is why they give you the extra hardware to stick on this side. So now we've got our control arm in, and now we just have to tighten everything down. 69 foot-pounds thanks to the footnotes. So installing the ABS bracket for the aftermarket control arms, had to grab an 8mm ratchet wrench. Alright, so I didn't have a metric wrench big enough to the equivalency of what this is, so I grabbed an 1/1/16 to tighten this up on the jam nuts. That way they're not moving. You are going to need an 18mm to back the nut on this side for the aftermarket install bolt. There's a difference between seated and torqued. Alright. Alright, so now that I got one side done and this out, I'm going to start working on the other side. They're both the same. So if you can do one side, you can do the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, so I've got the driver's side control arm in. So, along with the control arms on this vehicle, we are also working on an oil change and going to finish that up.